TSN hockey analyst Martin Biron joins me now. Marty, great to see you. It's hard to believe that that was Alexander Ovechkin's first career playoff overtime goal. What stood out to you about that goal from Ovi?
Well, first of all, I played against Ovi in overtime in Game 7 of, the 2007-8 playoffs. He didn't have a shot, so he couldn't score on me. So that's why he didn't have a goal before that. But when you look at the overtime goal, for me, it's, it was a tough icing call right before. But for Montreal, it's about defending the front of your net. Like, you cannot allow Washington to get 1 and 2 crack at the front of your net. And in the first 40 minutes of that game, the Washington Capitals at 13 high-danger chances. That's why Washington was up 2-0. Montreal is a bottom 3 team when it comes to defending the front of their own net. And look, Washington knew that, and it was the mentality of the team to say, we're going to go to the front of the net. And look, Washington's got size. Yeah, they got Dubois, they got Wilson, but it wasn't the big guys that did it. It was Mangiapane with 2 high-danger chances, Beauvillier with 3, Dehaime, Leonard, those guys all had a couple of high-danger chances. And I think that is where analytics come into play. Some people don't like the numbers, but if you're Washington, you're saying, hey, Montreal can't defend the front of their net good. Let's go there. And that's exactly what happened in this game. Beauvillier's 2-0 goal was a high-danger chance right in front of Montembeault, and obviously Ovechkin's overtime goal was a high-danger chance as well. So that is where Washington took advantage of Montreal. That needs to be corrected for the series.
And yet, Marty, it was almost a comeback for the ages for the Montreal Canadiens. They couldn't get anything going offensively for the first 40. And then what was the key, in your opinion, to their third-period comeback that allowed them to force overtime?
All season long, it was the Nick Suzuki line with Cole Caulfield and Juraj Slafkovsky. Whenever they needed a goal, it was Suzuki line. Whenever they needed something to change the momentum, it was the Suzuki line. So in the first 40 minutes, not a lot going on with Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slafkovsky. In the third period, their line's on the ice. That draws the power play, right? The penalty, the tripping penalty. And then, the power play, the first unit, is Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slafkovsky. Yes, that's a shot from Maloney, but look at who's around the net. Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slafkovsky were right there. And this is weird because in playoffs, matchups are so important. And on the tie-in goal, Pierre-Luc Dubois, who was mostly matched up against Suzuki, was not on the ice. So they took advantage of maybe getting the matchups on the Montreal side. Look, about 90% of the appearances of Suzuki on the ice, Pierre-Luc Dubois was there. So when he's not on the ice, you have to take advantage of this situation. Suzuki took advantage of the situation, 4 minutes left in the game, to tie it. And that's another thing. Maybe, I know in Washington you don't control the matchups, but maybe you have to try to get Suzuki away from Dubois, because your offense has come from one line all season long, and it is Suzuki. You got to give him the best chance to be able to produce. They did twice in this game, power play and even strength, but in the second game or down the series, they're going to have to produce even more.
What about Samuel Montembeault, Marty? How much credit does he deserve for just keeping Montreal in this game in the first place?
Part of the job of a goaltender is making your team believe that you have a chance to win. And early in this game, not only did he give Montreal the belief that they could win, he made some unbelievable saves. The first 5-10 minutes, Montreal was not in the game. They got going a little later in the first period, and they played a much better game after that. But I talked about 13 high-danger chances in the first 40 minutes, and a lot of those chances were really, really good on Montembeault. And look at the 3 goals that Washington scored. The Ovechkin first goal went off Savard's skate, went right underneath the ankle, it changed direction. Beauvillier, that high stick was really close. The one angle shows that it was probably shoulder height or a little lower, but still, no, that's a tough bounce. And then Ovechkin, it didn't even hit the stick on the overtime goal. It hit the shaft of his stick. So there's nothing that Montembeault could have done on those. He played a really strong game, but he gave his team the belief that he could be better than Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson was fine. Didn't have a lot to do early in the game. But when you go into Game 2 and for the rest of the series, I think what Montembeault did in Game 1 is given his team the belief that he can outplay Thompson and they can win games and potentially win the series.
Montembeault, 29 saves in a Game 1 loss. We'll see if he and the Habs can even this one up. Game 2 will be Wednesday in D.C. Marty Biron, thanks for this.